Hey, everybody. Welcome to Generation AI, the podcast where we demystify artificial intelligence in the world of higher education. I'm your host, Ardis Kadiu, and with me I have JC Bonilla. Actually, JC and I did a really amazing interview closing out Engage 2025, and we're going to play that special episode for you. So we just finished 2 very thoughtful days in Charlotte at Engage 2025. The theme was AI-powered, people-focused, which framed every conversation and every product demonstration and every thought leadership session that we had around AI. It reminded us that artificial intelligence isn't just an add-on, right? It's becoming the foundation of how campuses serve students now. It's not just another initiative, it's something that is transformational. To close the summit, JC and I joined Dr. Tracy Brundage, the president of ABAC in Georgia, for a panel titled "The Future is Ours to Shape." We shared the moments that shifted our perspectives. We explored what it takes to move from experimenting with AI to relying on it, and named the obstacles that still stand in our way. And you know, there's a lot of those obstacles, and usually it's people, and transformation. Most importantly, we asked how success will be measured when students, not systems, are at the center of every decision. This conversation looks ahead, not back. Here it is.
Hello, everybody. We made it. We've made it. It is our last conversation. And yeah, we're pretty tired, but my brain, it's literally exploding. I was talking to Tracy, and we've been taking notes on my phone. So we're going to be looking at some of the information, because what we want to do in the next half hour is to recap in a very honest conversation between 2 leaders, one charting the mission of how technology disrupts, amplifies, and all the themes that have come in the past 2 days, and another leader who is now responsible for operationalizing that and having the teams figuring out. So thank you for being here, and I just love to kick it off with 2 days, demos, presentations, speaking, aha moments. Tracy, what are you taking away?
It's been amazing for me. I wasn't able to come last year, and I know my team was here, and they're here again this year, and just so much appreciation. And wow, that's all I can say, just in terms of exponentially how things have moved. You know that I became involved, with Element many years ago in another presidency, and just to see the shift and the whole life cycle in terms of where we were a number of years ago and where we are now, I'm just been blown away. I've just been so amazed. And in fact, as I say these things and I was writing things down, I'm thinking, okay, this is already outdated, right? Because things are moving.
Very AI, right?
AI, that's right.
Ardis, have you basically just finished a presentation? So this is our next panel. We're closing the conference, in case you don't know.
This is it, yeah.
This is it.
We're not building anything else. We did promise a whole bunch of stuff, during our AMA session.
What's in your head right now as we close?
So we're in a really interesting spot, and I understood some of the questions there folks are asking are based on this, I won't say old way, but the way we've always done things. And I want a little bit more efficiency. I want things to be done a little bit differently so they make me more comfortable internally. And the bigger questions are not getting asked. The bigger questions on how can we change things internally to adopt something like this to make this thing better for the student. So incremental, that's in everybody's head, and that's what I'm hearing as I have conversations. And in my head, I'm like, we need to do exponential.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing of the belief that I had maybe before and coming in about the back office tool.
Yeah.
Streamline operations and efficiencies. And as you said so elegantly this morning, Ardis, that AI has the power, to translate through silos and bring everyone together. And it's really that team member aspect. That's the key word, I think, that we heard throughout the last 2 days. And how Dr. Thomas said this morning about empowering employees, not replacing them, but allowing us to be able to focus on the priorities
Right.
that we need to focus on while we're all becoming more efficient.
There was a theme around AI is not only about features, but it's a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
And Ardis, you're saying, and it has to be exponential, right? And you're also seconding that. But I did hear a lot of, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
This is happening so fast, and I have 50 other things waiting on campus.
Yeah.
So if I were to give you the magic wand, Ardis, and you bring it to all your campuses, right? In your specific campus, is there something that you think needs to change faster and kind of get in there out of all the things that need to happen? And if I could also give you a different mental framework at a different conversation yesterday, someone said, can you put a pause so I can do all these things that we're talking and learning here? So what needs to change?
It's not the technology.
Right.
So what is it then?
It's culture. It's systems. It's structure.
Yeah.
It's, the all of us are doing more with less, and sometimes you reach a point where less is less, and you're looking at the number of hats that we're all wearing and trying to figure out how you begin. It's all that transformation of the enterprise, really, from a change management perspective, that nimbleness. I mean, we've heard all day about, just the academy and the teaching and the integrity around academic integrity and those paradigms and how we redefine and reaffirm those and what that means in this digital age for our students. And we have students that are going to be coming in next year who will, in their high school experiences, been able to utilize ChatGPT for 4 years.
Yep.
And are we evolving in such a way academically in terms of our core that we're going to be able to meet them where they are? And that's the challenge, I guess, as a president, as a CEO, is looking. And you said this yesterday in your talk about you're kind of looking at how you're transforming the internal aspect of your business practices for your company, as
We're
well
in the
as
same
your,
journey as everybody
your
else.
product,
Yeah.
right? Your
Yeah.
product, your external facing product, and we're doing the same thing. I'm there trying to figure out, looking around and trying to figure out how we align the structure. But it's the human capital aspect of it in terms of the trust and understanding and being able to embrace the technology, because I think that's the marriage, if you will, that
Yeah.
really needs to happen for success, is the technology meets the structure and the trust to be able to embrace it and to be able to manage that through the culture.
Yeah, we're seeing that, right? So I pulled that example, 93% of your features on any of your products, and this is across industries, don't get used. So it's like, we can give you more software, but it's gonna basically add on to that anxiety of, it's like, oh shit, I have to implement this thing. And so it's not gonna get used. So we internally are going through this transformation right now. We're trying to deliver actually extensions of teams. So rather than thinking about delivering more features, you heard how we're delivering agents that do the whole workflow, and they can help with that whole workflow. So you don't have to think about, how do I do the wiring, and how do I do, the strategy, and how do I think about that stuff? So now you can have your teams actually focus on strategy a little bit more, and those, they can change a little bit faster. So we're not there yet. Like, we're just starting that journey, and that's what you saw this past couple of days. It's just the beginning of these agents and how to think about this as teammates. But we're starting to think about, changing what we're trying to deliver, because you don't need more software.
The technology, it's ahead. The people, the process, trying to catch up.
Right.
But there was a hopeful theme that emerged yesterday, reinforced throughout the day, and today emerges again. And these are my words for it. AI is a unifying factor. Siloed. I really appreciate how you're breaking silos at ABAC through the lens of the full student cycle and admissions and alumni affairs probably coming into the same office. Awesome. Seems that AI can do that for us. It amplifies accelerates basically the silo breaking. as AI comes and does that, where would you put your money, your effort, so that the adoption goes there? Ardis, same question, but think about it. What would you say gets this 90% of usability or lack of usability to 80 or 70, right? Because what we're seeing is it's not happening. Technology is there. We have the blockers, but at the same time, the same technology can bring us together. So is there something that you could see as a silver line? Because everyone here is an AI champion.
Yeah.
And at work, we're going to go with this basically tensions and functions. So in terms of adoption, Ardis?
Yeah, I think Tracy said it best. It's like it's not the tools. Shouldn't be thinking about it that way. It's about the change management that needs to happen internally. And you mentioned it during breakfast that you're driving your team and you're essentially giving them the opportunity to say, hey, we need to change in this way, and you're trying to drive that change. So we can make things easier, faster, better, but it's really going to be up to the schools to drive the change management. And then I don't think that's going to, no matter what type of software you have, no matter what type of systems you have, it really needs to be driven, internally as part of that change management. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, the change it's disruptive, and when you're coming in and you're trying to tell your team, we need to move at this type of pace, and we need to get these things done. And one of the things that we've been really trying to do is explain that why behind that transparency of trying to link those individual initiatives and actions to the strategic initiatives and those KPIs. It's no longer about just those individual tasks or it's really, when we look at it, when we see what's happening, in the higher ed sector, what I see is those predictions. The workforce is going to continue to demand that AI literacy. And I think the agents that you've been talking about, I think that they're going to transform the work across all industry sectors, including our own. And I think that's where those gaps are in that understanding. And that's where the leadership really has to be really tied in and being able to work across all sectors of the organization and be able to explain to everybody why that particular action is important and why the technology needs to help support. It's all about, for us, we're extremely student-centered, so it's all about the student, not losing sight of what we're trying to do for the student.
Yeah.
I'd like to build on that, your last point, because the theme of the conference is AI-powered, people-focused.
Right.
And the student experience, it's probably, at the end of the day, how we want to centralize that and amplify it and improve. So I think this is a tricky question. I would love to see how you think about this, but how do we know that AI has done its promise of it improves student experience, right? Because I constantly hear measurement of AI through the lens of hours saved, less people working more efficient, like efficiency metrics. But is the student experience an efficiency metric? How are you thinking about it? But how do we start thinking about all this is going to make it awesome for the student, and how do we know that we actually deliver on that?
Does a student feel a sense of belonging? Does the student feel connected? The human connection at scale, are we able to do that better? Because I think that's what we talked about, right?
Yep.
The technology meets us to a certain point, and then the humans have to take over and do the thing that we do best.
Yep.
And to make sure that our students feel that. Do the students have that confidence and that clarity? Do I know where to go? Do I know how to navigate certain things? Where can I go to get this? And then where does somebody else start to, take the baton and jump in and provide that information? And I think all of that within that emotional tone, I think that is the beauty where we can help on our end to meet the technology where it is, so that those students really do have that sense of belief, that belonging, and that allows them to really become the best that they can be in the environment that they're there. And I think that that's going to help the retention. When we talked about that, fall to spring, first year, fall to fall retention, and their progression to matriculate and those graduation rates and all those things that all of us here, those key performance metrics that we're looking to accomplish.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm liking of what you're saying, Tracy, is they're the same metrics that we've been trying to work and fix for the longest time. So in a way, you're saying we're just gonna go back to what we know is good student experience and just seeing the uplift.
Yeah.
You see it differently, Ardis?
I don't know. Why don't we have a CSAT score for students?
Ooh,
Satisfaction.
that's the next module. It's gonna be the rollout. No. Say more, Ardis.
You said you weren't going to do it? See, he's already thinking of the next thing.
So, I mean, we do have customer satisfaction scores, right? And everything that we do, you always get those questions or you always get the report. It's like, hey, from 1 to 10, well, how would you recommend this to whatever, would you recommend this? So you get the CSAT score. Now with AI, you can actually infer a lot of that based on the conversations and so on and so forth. So there's this ability that we have. It's like, why don't we do that with a student? We have it with faculty members, but we don't do it with the experience part. So maybe that's a missing opportunity there.
I've in our podcast, we've kind of used this tagline that AI, as it relates to academics, education, the experience, that AI did not break it. It just exposed the cracks that we had in our system.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know if this is how you feel on campus, but many of us have been hiding behind what the experience, it is what it is for the student. That's the way we work in academics and whatnot. And the reality that I'm hearing throughout is that the students are coming with new expectations and we need to meet them where they're at.
So you're saying like no news is good news is not good.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I just don't know how long we can go without doing this CSAT and NPS type of metric anymore. Probably is gonna come in.
I mean, I think that goes into vision and philosophy of leaders. And when you're coming in to a position and there are people that believe, well, we've built it and they will come. That's a different era. That's not where we are now.
Yeah.
Where we are now is that we have to be very customer centric and understand the needs and demands of those customers, those students, and understand that those are going to continue to evolve and that we have to be able to look around the corner and the best that we can to try to prepare. And that's tough right now because, we were having this discussion this morning that what we do best is trying to prepare students for continuous lifelong learning, to be prepared, be good citizenships, to go out, do good work, have competencies to prepare them for the workforce. And we don't even know what some of those jobs are even going to be. And some of these programs that we have now, that we've had on these legacy programs and legacy foundations and systems that we're using, we don't even know with a student that's going through that now in 10 years, whether that's even going to be a viable career pathway. And so none of us have a crystal ball. So trying to run the day-to-day business of paying attention to all the things you need to pay attention to, and then also trying to have that strategy and vision in place to see where you go next is a real challenge. Because I would think even in your business as technical as it is, there's probably an awful lot about this that you don't even know about where this is all going to go.
Hey, I admit it. I have no idea. In the next year or two, if we achieve AGI or ASI, artificial superintelligence, then there is a 20% chance that it can go really wrong. That's just the number. But there's an 80% chance that it can go really right and it can lead to a lot of abundance and a lot of the really good stuff that we want. So we just don't know. Like we're building for the next, 6 months, the next few months, and we just don't know where, what the impact is going to be in a couple of years or even 5 years.
And that's scary because for us, all of us in higher education, because we all know that the value proposition has been disrupted There was disruptions in our sector prior to the pandemic, and we've been dealing with one disruption right after another. And now you have, technology out there, just really, running really fast, and our systems, you just aren't as agile. And being able to adapt and adopt and evolve in that way. And it just really makes you wonder what, the state of this sector is going to look like in a decade. And how do we serve that next generation of students?
To close, definitely there's a future not far away where some of these outcomes may take place. There's a future where I truly believe that the student will show up to campus with her agents, as in plural, and it's up to us to make them work. But today, right? So let's bring this conversation to today, and I think that everyone here is excited, invigorated, and extremely worried of how am I going to apply this on campus. So if I were to ask you a one-sentence North Star advice to all these leaders represented here, what's your one sentence to go and achieve, go AI all the way?
Yeah.
Tracy?
I would say design with empathy, lead with curiosity, and never lose sight of the student as the soul of the system.
Amen.
Yeah.
Beat that, Ardis.
I don't know if I can beat that. I was going to say something more practical, but I think that's a good one. We'll leave it at that. It's all about the goal at the end of the day, right? So it's all about serving that student. So as you walk out of here, hopefully you've taken a lot of kind of the direction where things are going, looking around that corner. Hopefully you walk out of here with a feeling that, everybody else hasn't figured it out yet. And it's just maybe they're a few days ahead of me, or they're maybe like a couple of weeks ahead of me. Maybe I'm, I don't know, like a month or 2 months ahead of you guys, right? So everybody's trying to figure it out at the same time. And as long as you keep starting, and as long as you kind of chip away at it and you start using things, you start building and building, I think that's probably the best advice that I can give you. It's like there is no experts right now. Everything that's happening is happening really fast. It's just people that are just a little bit ahead and a little bit behind, and hopefully you can kind of bring a lot of that to your campuses so you can push them and move them forward.
I will wrap us up with how we started the conference, and probably one of the takeaways for me personally is be a manager of AI and leader of people. And in between that balance, probably we start achieving some of these goals. So with that, thank you very much. This concludes the programming for the conference, and we're so grateful to have you here. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Generation AI is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you're going to like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing weekly, and we've got a wide range of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform that's helping institutions all over the country create meaningful, personalized, and engaging connections with their prospects and students. Learn more at element451.com.